I'm the big man, attorney Joey Franks with Big Man Law here in Jackson, Mississippi. You're getting a little bit of an unusual view. It's Christmas Eve and we're trying to keep all the videos coming, and our office is torn out because it's getting converted to become a nursery in January. So I don't have the handy dandy office here, and we're trying to make all the family events today. So I wanted to make sure I got you a video, and I got you a good one from Judge Middleton up in Michigan. And it's a preliminary hearing on what we would call a malicious mischief charge, but here you go. We'll talk about it in a second.
This is the time and date for a preliminary examination in the matter of People versus Samantha Marie Kelly. That's you?
Yep. Yes.
We've met. You've been here several times. I'm Judge Middleton. You're charged in a felony complaint that alleges that on or about July 22nd, you did willfully and maliciously injure a car which belonged to Paige Curlin, and the amount of the injury was $1,000 or more, but less than $20,000. That is a felony, commonly known as malicious destruction of property over $1,000. It's punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment and a fine of up to $10,000 or 3 times the amount of damage to the car. This matter was adjourned a couple of times for further discovery and investigation of the matter, and it's set for preliminary examination today. Ms. Kelly, as I explained, a preliminary examination is a hearing where it must be established beyond a probable cause standard that there's reason to believe that a crime was committed and reason to believe that you did it. You won't be found guilty or not guilty at this hearing. In a case of the more things change, the more they stay the same, Deborah Davis is here on behalf of the St. Joseph County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, has recently been appointed as a special prosecuting attorney pending today's election result and the first of the year when the new elected officials take office. You're here with your lawyer, Mr. Paul Gibson. My understanding was there was a plea offer to MDOP over 200, but less than 1,000. The defendant declined, has maintained throughout that she didn't do this. And so here we are. Mr. Gibson, are we going to do a preliminary examination here today?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Davis, are the people ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's get right to it. May call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people will call Savannah Hampton. Because she is a minor, can Your Honor keep the camera locked on either the bench or the defendant, whichever?
Yeah, let's see how to do this.
Thank you.
Because she's going to be seen on the way in.
I don't think it's.
I'd lock it on you.
All right, we'll lock it on counsel.
So
Lock it on me for right now.
There we go. Lost you.
The problem is she's going to be visible in this angle. Just a
she's
moment.
pretty small. I'm not sure she will or not.
All right, please come forward if you would. Well, ask her to have a seat, please.
You want to sit first?
Yes, please. All right, that works out pretty good.
This is your mic. Okay.
All right, you can unlock my camera. And lock it on the defense counsel and the podium. Good morning or good afternoon. I'm Judge Middleton. Did you meet Miss Davis from the prosecutor's office? Yes. Could you tell me your name?
Savannah.
All right, Savannah, could you speak up? Could you spell your name for me?
SAVANNH.
A-H.
At Hampton. How old are you, Savannah? 9. Where did you go to school?
Elementary.
What grade are you in?
4th.
Good for you. You ride the bus?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to get out there. Well, I'm going to ask you if you'd raise your right hand. Do you promise or swear that anything you're about to testify to will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The way it's set up now, Debbie's out of frame. Maybe it's just her.
I'm not sure, let's see, so I hit overall. I think it's
That's fine.
is it screen?
Yes. All right, you may inquire.
Thank you. Savannah, what's your mom's name?
Paige.
Do you know her last name?
Colin.
Carolyn, okay. And where do you and your mom live? What town?
3 Rivers.
3 Rivers, and that's in Michigan? Yes. And do you recall going to a store with your mom's boyfriend last summer?
Yeah.
And on July 22nd of 2024, what store did you guys go to?
Walmart.
You went to Walmart. And do you know what town you were in?
3 Rivers.
Okay. And what were you doing there?
We were getting stuff to grill.
To grill? Okay. And what is Charles's last name, if you know?
Hampton.
Hampton? Okay. And what vehicle or car did you guys take?
My mom's car.
And do you know what kind of car your mom's car was?
No.
Do you remember what color it was?
Silver.
Silver, okay. And did you go anywhere else besides Walmart?
No.
No other stores or?
No.
Okay. Did you go to any other houses besides your own? And whose house did you go to?
Sam's house.
And who is Sam? Your Honor, may the record reflect she's pointed to the defendant.
It may. You can't see it on the record, but I saw it.
Savannah, how do you know Sam?
My dad lives there.
Your dad lives there. Okay. So your dad is Charles Hampton?
Yes.
Okay. And how many times have you seen Sam?
A lot.
Okay. Over a couple of years or how often?
I don't know.
If she walked up to you in a store, would you know who it was?
Yes.
All right. And so the person that you pointed out today, do you know her last name? No? You just know her name is Sam? And what's her relationship to your dad? Do they have any children together?
Yes.
Okay. Are they older or younger than you?
Younger.
Younger. And on the day that you went to the store with Charles, did you go to Sam's house before or after you went to Walmart?
After.
All right. And what were you going there for?
We were dropping off diapers.
And do you know who the diapers were for?
My younger brothers.
And had you been to Sam's house before?
Yes.
When you got there, did you get out of the car?
No.
What did you do?
I was sitting there until my dad was. I was sitting there when my dad was giving her the diapers.
When you say her, are you talking about Sam?
Yes.
Okay. Was your dad in the car or outside of the car?
Outside.
And were the windows up or were they down? Do you remember?
They were up.
Okay. Could you hear what they were saying?
No.
Could you see them?
Yes.
Can you describe what you saw?
I saw my dad hand the diapers, then Sam saw the grilling supplies, and she got mad.
Would you say Sam saw the grilling supplies? Where were those?
In the backseat.
Okay. And What happened after Sam saw the stuff in the back seat?
She got mad and she pulled out her keys and started keying my mom's car.
When you say keying your mom's car, can you describe to me what part of the car and what she was doing?
The whole side of the car.
When you say keying, like, are you talking about like car keys or? Okay.
Objection, leading.
I'll allow it.
So what were you doing when that was happening?
I was sitting in the car.
And did Sam say anything when she was doing this?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did she stay on one side of the car, if you remember, or?
Yes.
Okay. And so what was your dad doing?
My dad was handing the diapers, then he got back in the car.
And when you guys were both back in the car, what was Sam doing?
I don't remember.
It's okay. What happened after, or how did you leave Sam's house?
We pulled off, then she threw a rock at my mom's car.
She threw a rock? Okay. Do you remember how big the rock was?
It was like medium size.
When you say medium, like a golf ball or a baseball or Your Honor, let the record reflect she's got her fingers like an inch.
All right, maybe an inch apart or so.
Did you hear the rock hit the car?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay. Did you see anything that happened when it hit the car?
No.
Okay. What happened after that?
We pulled off and went to my mom's house.
And when you got to your mom's house, what happened?
We took everything inside that was in the car. Then my dad started grilling.
Did he tell your mom what happened to the car?
No.
When did mom realize what happened to the car?
The next day.
Okay. And did mom ask you anything about it?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you see anybody else around outside when this was happening with the keying of the car?
No,
Were there any other adults or kids around?
no.
I believe I have any further questions for this witness. You gotta wait there and Mr. Gibson might have some questions for you, okay?
This is Mr. Gibson. He's representing Sam. It's her lawyer. And he has some questions for you too. And so just tell him the truth best you can.
What was what was Samantha wearing? Or Sam, as you called her?
I don't remember.
And you said that she had a key in her hand?
Yes,
Which hand?
I don't remember.
What time of day was it?
It's like the afternoon,
What does that mean?
like at 5-ish.
So did this make a sound when you claim that the car was keyed?
I don't remember.
So it didn't make a sound,
She didn't say that.
but you don't remember hearing any sound. Correct?
Asked and answered, Your Honor.
Well, can you answer? Do you remember any sort of sound?
I do a little bit.
Were the windows up?
Yes,
Was the air conditioner on?
no,
So you said that when this happened, your father was talking with Sam?
No, he went in the car when when he handed the diapers.
What happened? He handed her diapers, and then what happened?
Then he got back in the car.
And that's when you say that she keyed the car?
Yes.
Were the windows open?
No.
Were any of the doors open?
Yeah.
Which door?
It was like halfway open, and it was the back seat.
The back seat door was open?
A little bit.
Where do you claim that this car got keyed? Like where on the car?
Like the whole side.
Which side?
The driver's side.
The same side that the same side that the back seat door was open?
No.
Well, you said that the back seat door was open on, correct?
Yes. It was on the other side.
Why was that open?
Because the diapers were on that side.
Isn't it true that your mom told you to say this? Aren't you lying?
Just a minute, just a minute.
No.
Wait a second, you want to step outside of
No, we'll take a breath here and we'll try to continue. Savannah, you're doing just fine. We're almost done. And all you can do is just tell what you know. So if you don't know something, and you've said that sometimes, nobody's mad at you. You're just trying to do the best you can. And so I don't know where you were going with your questions, but that's not very effective questioning for a 9-year-old child. So go ahead and try to ask the question you want to ask. And Savannah,
In what way was the car damaged?
I don't remember.
Excuse me?
I don't remember.
So do you know if the car was damaged?
Yes.
But you don't know in what way?
No.
So does that mean it might have not been damaged?
Objection, Your Honor, calling for speculation.
let me ask this. Savannah, did the car have a scratch on it?
Yes.
Did you see it?
Yes.
And it did go all down the driver's side of the car?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Gibson?
So when you got back home, did you have a conversation with your mother?
No.
So you didn't talk with your mother about this incident?
No, my father said, don't tell her.
Who said that?
My father.
Isn't it correct that your father saw this happen
Yes.
and he approved of it?
You
Objection,
can't
Your Honor,
ask
you can't
that.
answer
That question's stricken.
Did your father give her permission to do what happened?
No.
How do you know?
You can't answer that either.
Wasn't the door closed? Did you hear the conversation between Sam and your father?
No.
So how would you know whether or not he gave her permission to do it? You wouldn't know that, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
Well, she didn't say that she did. So you're asking her to answer a question she hasn't answered. She said she didn't know, and then you said, how do you know that it didn't happen? She didn't hear.
How
that.
do you know that you don't know?
Paul, you can't ask a question like that.
Well, I question whether this witness is competent.
Well, I thought she was doing fine. Just ask questions that can be answered with a direct answer and don't require speculation on the witness's part.
Do you know who the car belonged to that you claim was keyed?
Yes.
Who?
My mom.
And do you know how much the damage was?
Objection, Your Honor. This is a 9-year-old.
Well, it was already asked and answered, and she said she didn't know.
So, do you remember if your mom called the police about this incident?
Yes, she did.
Do you remember if it was the same day that you and your dad went to Sam's, or was it later, like a different day?
It was the next day.
The next, okay. Do you remember around, well, I think you may have answered this, but do you remember around what time that you and your father got back home that day from where you guys had been?
5-ish.
5. Okay. And so from your memory, your mom called law enforcement the next day, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So prior to your mother calling law enforcement, did you have a conversation with your mother about this incident?
Yes, the next day.
Okay. Do you remember around what time the next day you and your mother had a conversation about it?
I don't remember.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
No further questions, Your
All
Honor.
right, just a moment. Would you lock the camera on me? Savannah, I thought you did just fine, and you're free to go. Why don't you go with,
All right, so we've seen the preliminary hearing. As you can see, the key witness is, well, a child. And there are certain rules to having a child as a witness in Mississippi. And we're going to attach those here in the description so that you have a link to the rules of criminal procedure, and you'll have a statute link to it also. And you can see exactly what is required. Now, the prosecutor does a really good job of holding the kid's hand and walking her through it to get the testimony out that's needed. And the defense attorney, well, I don't agree with the way he went about it. I understand how he went about it. And a lot of times on the stand, you are trying to beat up witnesses. You're trying to get what you need out of them to help your client's case. But an ounce of sugar goes a lot further than a pound of salt sometimes. And I understand that sometimes you want to lead them down the path and you put sugar cubes down there and it turns out it's a salt lick on the backside. But he didn't do that there. He just came out with the good old-fashioned Morton's and went right at it. And I don't agree with that. And another thing to remember is verbal communication is an important part of making a mistake, but it's not so much what you say during communication as how you say it. I can say, y'all have a wonderful day. And that means one thing, and I can say, have a wonderful day. And it's completely different. I know that's exaggerated, but that was meant to be like that. So you get an idea that he could phrase things differently, he could present it differently, but he doesn't do that here. He does a poor job of doing that. And Judge Middleton gets a little aggravated by him. And some of the questions he's right, he couldn't ask. And some of the questions I think he probably could have asked, definitely could have worded them better, but he didn't. There's some objections there, which are fun. Preliminary hearings are always fun from a criminal perspective. It's closest to a deposition as I'm going to get in the criminal world. In a car wreck case, for example, I get to depose everybody and you see what they're going to say on the stand. Criminal case, not so much. And here, with him questioning her, I'd want other witnesses there. I'd want everybody that was there. I think the father was there involved somehow. And these malicious mischief cases are always just they're rough. Either you win them or you lose them. And the simple reason is there's usually a camera in these parking lots that says it all. When people want to use somebody's car as a canvas and a key as a paintbrush, that's what happens. And they get tagged a lot of times. No pun intended there, but I get it. Anyhow, so it's a malicious prosecution. They call it, it's not malicious prosecution, it's malicious mischief charge. And they call it malicious destruction of property over $1,000 in Michigan. It's still a felony level here as it would be in Michigan. And I understand that they wanted to take this down to a misdemeanor, and she didn't want to plead to that. From a criminal defense perspective, anytime you get a felony taken down to a misdemeanor, it's really hard to look at your client and say, go roll the dice on this, because there's a lot of consequences that come with being the felon: loss of voting rights, loss of gun rights. You got to admit it on job applications. You're not going to get anything that requires a background check for the most part. So it's hard to tell somebody not to seriously consider that. The flip side is you may be looking at evidence in some cases that make it just plain as day that this ain't the guy. And that might be a case to go fight it over, but obviously we haven't seen the evidence here, so we can't articulate that. But a witness makes it hard. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I certainly have. Have a great day. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.